Hey, good morning to everybody. It's Daryl here. It's bright and early this Tuesday morning, 3 a.m. Tuesday's probably when you're going to see this. First thing I want to say is please excuse the tank top. I usually wear my my short sleeve black shirt, but it is freaking hot here in Connecticut. It's going to be, the heat index is going to be over like 108 today. The humidity here in Connecticut it hits you like a brick wall when you go back outside. It's just stifling. So deal with the tank top. I'm not trying to flex you guys, but I'm hot. I mean, warm. All right. This video, I want to talk to you guys. I'm in recovery. I've been clean and sober since October 23rd of 2006. 18 years and 8 months yesterday, Monday morning. Okay. And this is a phrase I hear over and over again. I watch the show Intervention, and I go to NA and AA groups, and I hear addicts that are still in the throes of addiction, not into recovery. I hear them say this about their friends and family. You don't understand, but you don't understand. Like when they talk to friends and family. I hear it over and over again, like especially in the show Intervention. And I want to translate that to you guys really quickly. Now yesterday, if this is Tuesday, and this is on TikTok, I haven't downloaded this video yet. I did a video about Dax Shepard in a blackout weekend. Okay, and at the end of that video, I talked about, I tried to give you guys an example of addiction in a nutshell. Like when we take a drink or a pill, just one drink, all of a sudden when that euphoria hits, we get this feeling that we need to stay. There's no way we can go back feeling normal. We have to stay. This has to be my new default setting. That's the feeling we get. It's like, I cannot go back. I need to stay in this frame of mind. And it's just this incredible, it's almost like I can't go back to living without oxygen. That's what it feels like once we get that feeling of euphoria or from that first drink or that first pill. That's kind of summing up addiction in a nutshell. Okay, and like I said, a lot of times addicts will say this to their friends and family, but you don't understand. If you just understood, and I want to translate that for you. Well, that's basically what they're saying. That feeling when we I think it is the disease of addiction. Most people, if they're not addicts, they can have a drink, they feel the euphoria, and they just come back down, and the alcohol or drug wears off, and they're happy. They go up, they come down. But this is my opinion now. When we get that feeling of euphoria, the first thing that comes to our mind is this. It's like all of a sudden going from black and white. The world is black and white. It's all of a sudden now the world is Technicolor. And it's like, I cannot go back. You feel that, all of a sudden it's like I can function. I can socialize. My anxiety's gone down. I feel comfortable. And all of a sudden after that one drink or that one pill, that's why we can't have one drink or one pill. Because we get that feeling, and it's just like, this has to be my new default setting. That is the feeling of addiction. And when addicts say, you don't understand, and don't get me wrong, this, it irritates me when addicts say this, because it's almost like an excuse. It's like they're saying, well, if you understood how miserable I am, you would let me use, or you would understand that why I use. And I'm sure, this is why I believe this is, I'm sure I said it. I believe this is why they say that, is because in other words, if people could just, what they're saying is if they could just understand, how it would be like torture going back to living in a straight world, in a straight feeling. It would be like trying to live underwater or without air, or, in black and white or whatever. It's like as soon as we get that initial feeling, this is why we can never have another drink. We can never have another pill. 20 years, 30 years, clean and sober, it's just off limits. Anything that gives a buzz like that, as soon as we get that feeling of euphoria, when it hits that part of our brain, just that initial feeling of euphoria, it's like our minds, just our psyche, our character just lashes onto that. And it's like, this is how I need to go forward. I cannot go back. This needs to be my new default setting. And if people just could understand this feeling right here, it's almost like terror at going back to being straight. It's like, no, I can function. I feel less anxiety. I need to continue feeling like this, whatever it takes. If people would only understand this, if you only understood, I believe that's why addicts say this. And like I said, it's not an excuse by any means. When I hear addicts say that, it kind of irritates me, because it's not reasonable. It's the addict talking. It's the disease of addiction is talking. Like, you should let me continue using. Is what they're trying to bargain, more or less. If you understood how miserable I was, you'd let me continue using. You don't understand. I believe, that's my opinion, why they say that. All right, so if you're watching on TikTok, I'm going to download the Dax Shepard Blackout Weekend video so you guys can see everything I'm talking about too. Have a good Tuesday. Oh, recovery is possible.